Hello everybody, it's your boy Warwick here, and I'm here to teach you how to beat Getting Over It with Bennet Foddy. Ignore all those posts that it's harder than Dark Souls, ignore all the rage compilations and memes. Let's get right into it. It's really not that hard. I'm going to teach you step by step. So here's you. You're Diogenes. You're the man in the pot. You got your cool little hammer. You can swing it around. No problem, right? Alright. Now step 1, learn the controls. You'll notice when you first load up the game, it asks you what kind of pointer you're using, mouse or trackpad. No matter which one you're using, I always suggest a trackpad, and let me tell you why. You'll notice that if you load up in regular mouse mode, that your hammer kind of feels a little funny to use. Like, it kind of moves around any direction it feels like it. Like, you just can't control it exactly the way you want, and maybe you think that's kind of part of the puzzle, but it's not. If you go and turn trackpad tuning on, you'll notice that the hammer much more follows where your mouse is and where it's pointing and how fast you move. They're not trying to trick you. It's just that option, literally all it does is turn on and turn off mouse acceleration. So you just need to turn your sensitivity down a little bit more, turn on trackpad tuning, and that way you have much more control over your hammer, and it goes where you want it to go, and it doesn't feel like that's part of the puzzle, because it's really not. Alright, step 2, learn to climb. So you're gonna get your controls down, and now you're gonna be kind of fumbling around these rocks like you're trying to like bulldoze over them or like beat through them, and you'll notice it doesn't really work too well for travel. What you're going to need to do is immediately just take a step back and learn how to do your pogo jump. As the name implies, sort of just looks like you're hopping on a pogo stick, but really, you just push down and you'll go up. Push down and left, you'll go forward and right. Simple as that. And much more effective than that weird cartwheel windmill thing that everyone does at first when they're not exactly sure how to play yet. We've all been there, don't worry about it, that's why I'm here to help. So you'll notice that you can't really pogo high enough to get on top of this tree, so now we gotta learn to hook. You'll see a little branch here at the bottom, and if you try to hook into it, it's mostly ineffective, but it just teaches you how hooking works. You can pull into it, and you'll go to it. You sort of like pogo, but opposite. So now you can just take those two concepts and pogo to hook. Pull your mouse straight down for your initial pogo hop, and then pull your mouse kind of clockwise so you can pull your hammer around the tree branch and hook onto it from above without hitting it. With these simple tools, you can pretty much climb the entire mountain. From there, just pull yourself up onto the tree branch nice and slow and push yourself over the same way that you have already. You can try to hook onto this little branch guy if you want, which is kind of a pain, or you can just pogo right over. That covers pretty much the entirety of the intro to this game. This is your learning how to climb tutorial. So let's go ahead and get right into the actual challenges of getting over it. Alright, so we start off here from the very beginning, and we are going to go over to obstacle 1, the tree. We of course just learned how to do this here, so we're going to do what we've already been taught. We're going to pogo hop to hook and just pull ourselves over. You can kind of get a pogo hop at the end of your hook if you get a little bit of practice, as you see me do. It's a little bit harder, of course, than your standard just sit down and pogo hop up, but once you're climbing the mountain long enough, you'll get a little bit more practice in it, and it'll be no problem. Okay, now obstacle 2, the pit. So you're down here, right, and there's a paddle way up there. It's a little bit difficult to pogo all the way up to that paddle, so the easiest thing to do is you just hook onto the first rock from a pogo, and then hook onto the paddle from there. You can pogo up to it from the rock, or you can just hook to hook once you get used to the controls, and then from there, you are at your next obstacle, the base of the mountain. And it's the same thing. You do a pogo hop if it looks like you don't have enough reach, and then when you get in range of your reach, you just hook on, and you just take it slow all the way through, hook and hop, hook and hop. And of course, following the base of the mountain takes you right up to Coffee Crag. Ignore the distracting little coffee cup and the extra rocks to the right. The best way to do this is to just hop straight up and up. Just pogo straight up and hook in. Pull yourself in nice and slowly, and then just hop up these rocks here with another hook to reach the next obstacle, the beam. The beam is a little tricky when you get to it at first. It's just a little slipperier than a rock. It's kind of this game's introduction to sliding around on metal. You'll notice it's kind of hard to grip, so just keep going hand over hand until you get to the Devil's Chimney. This is a difficult obstacle. Stand on top of this rock. This is the way I love to do it. Hop straight up, pull your hammer into the right, pull up again, pull your hammer into the left, pull up again, hook on is gonna be hard at first, but this is the easiest way I've found to do it. Once you reach the top of the chimney, just be careful not to throw yourself over the edge. Very gently set yourself down, and then pogo hop to the top, bringing you to your very next obstacle, the wall. Now that the Devil's Chimney has taught you how to hop from your hook, that's all this is, except for on one side. You just pull into your hammer, and then straight down. Make sure to rotate clockwise again to bring your hammer outside of the different shelves so you don't accidentally hit them on your way up. And that's it. You can now walk up this wall with little difficulty, balance yourself at the top, and pogo hop up to that hanging construction item there under the storage crates. This obstacle isn't really much of an obstacle. Just keep pulling in and moving your hammer up and over so you can crawl across. And be careful here at the edge. You'll fall all the way back down if you don't let yourself down nicely. Following the crane, we have my favorite but optional obstacle, the Stairway to Heaven. From here, we're going to go straight up. You gotta balance yourself perfectly on this ledge to where you've got a full extension of your hammer, pull into your hammer, and straight down. It's very difficult at first. It took me a while to get, but this is by far way better than going around. If you don't believe me, then you can go ahead and hop onto the left of the hot tub to climb up the wall of junk. It's just very light hook hops all the way through. Try not to get stuck on the slide, try not to get stuck on the rake, and then pogo your way over to the boxes to the right. Fall down the hole, try to catch yourself on the boxes to the right on your way down, and then you can move back over to the stairway as originally intended. Hop yourself over to the stairway by just lightly getting yourself to the edge, and then pogo hopping, and then swing your hammer up, back and forth to knock yourself between the stairs and the wall to get back up to the chair. And from here, it's just a matter of pogoing up and hooking on, and pogoing up and hooking on over and over again. You can try, your hook jumps if you're confident, but you might fall down a couple times. Otherwise, take it slowly. Sit down, hook, pogo. Sit down, hook, pogo. It's really easy to get your hammer caught on the surroundings, so try to keep it close to your chest and sit down, hook, and pogo. If you take it nice and slow, it shouldn't take you too long to climb up. And then right here, make sure that you very carefully set yourself on the other side of this chair, very lightly and gently so you don't fall, and then move your hammer around counterclockwise, and then push yourself off, leading you to your next obstacle, Mighty Orange. Now, don't be intimidated. Just give him a nice little tap and shove him off there, and take his place as you are the rightful owner of the Orange Throne. From here, just set yourself down nice and soft, and give yourself a nice tiny hop, and hook around the rock. Just be careful. As long as you give it a nice small hop and small hook, you can set yourself down nice and lovely, and then very slowly pull yourself up rock by rock. This obstacle, I find, is the easiest done very, very slowly. You can keep traction on these rocks as long as you pull into your hammer. This next one is most important. Get as close to this rock as you possibly can, set it down as far up as you can, and then pull into your hammer before you go up. That way when you go up, you don't lose much traction on your hammer. Then you can easily reach up and over to the square block and then lift yourself up to safety for the very next obstacle, the tower. This obstacle is deceptively easy but has huge consequences. Just make sure you jump straight up and hook in. If you miss, just calm down, hook on, and sit. That way you can jump straight up and hook in. Don't swing your hammer too far. You'll notice here the thumb makes it hard to sit down. Just be nice and calm, sit down, pogo up, and hook in. From here you can try to catch the little ledge and pull yourself up to safety, or you can pogo up from the ledge you were just on, like we've been doing, and slowly carry yourself over the tower. Pogo up to this rock here so you don't swing wildly, and then climb on over so you can get to the next area, the church. Don't fall off. Pogo directly up into the church by hooking in. It's all nice and square. And now once you've crossed this gap, we've reached a nice checkpoint. Don't have to worry so much about falling down all the way to the beginning of the game anymore. But we do have another difficult obstacle here in front of us. This one got me stuck for a while. If you take a look above, there's a little hat on this snowy peak. So I call this obstacle Snowy Peak Hat obstacle or something. Anyway, just sit down right next to this rock, pogo directly up, and hook over. It's not as bad as it looks. If you don't get a full extension on your hook, you'll slip off. You can also try it from on top of the rock directly to the right of you. The angle is a little funny, but the hop is a little easier, so if that works for you, then do that. This brings us to our next obstacle, the Devil's Anvil. Also a very difficult jump, but very easy to beat once you know how to do it. Now, what you're going to want to do is sit directly on the edge of this anvil. You don't have to be like leaning off of it, but you can be. And then you're going to need to place your hammer just a few inches away from the anvil on the right, and then pull directly into that anvil as hard as you can. This works pretty much every time. From there, just very controlled and easily hook yourself up, and this takes you to your very next obstacle, the floating meatballs. Just get positioned right here at the ledge, pogo your way out, and then hook your way to the next one. It's really difficult to see that jump, so a hook is the best action. From there, you can just pogo like normal to make sure you don't fall off. Pogo once, move yourself very lightly over to the edge of it, and pogo again. Lastly, you'll see this little lip here. Just pogo up it to stay safe, and this will take you to your next obstacle, the bucket. From here, a lot of people like to swing back and forth and catch a little ledge on the left, but not me. I like to pogo directly up, and then pogo directly up again, straight from the top of the bucket. Just let it fall on there and pull straight down as hard as you can. Make sure you swing your hammer around and let it fall on from the top, and then pull it right down. Grab the lip, and then pull yourself up to your next obstacle, Ice Mountain. This is by far one of the hardest parts of the game. There are tiny, hidden, invisible ledges in the snow. You can notice when you drag your hammer across, you'll see a clip, and then from there you can try to pogo up from those little tiny hidden squares. Once you realize how it works and you've just tried to climb the mountain a few times, you'll realize you can just take it slow, try to drag your hammer over the top, grab into the little clips in the mountain, and then pogo your way up them when you find them. So you see here, I'm just dragging until I find it stop, and then I try to pogo up. Using that method, you can slowly but surely get your way to the very last obstacle. There's nowhere to go but up from here. Welcome to the radio tower. Start off by getting to the steps here, and then of course, as always, just pogo hopping your way up, and hook onto the tower, pull yourself up and around to the antenna. Now you'll notice there's a dish obstruction right above this first dish, so you're going to need to get your hammer in between them very lightly, and then pull yourself up to the next one after that. If you land on top of it, you can just sit down and pogo from there, and start your hook again, pogo, and hook to the next one very lightly. It's a very small surface, but as long as you just stay in control and patient, you can do a small hook and grab, and then from there, pat yourself on the back, because after you just sit down, stay calm, and do your last hop into infinity, you, friend, have beaten Getting Over It with Bennet Foddy. Thank you so much. If you've liked this guide, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, show your friends, and enjoy Getting Over It with Bennet Foddy.